healthcare as an industry is really undergoing a set of dramatic changes, and all of them are contributing to the focus that many different companies within healthcare are placing on the end consumer. Obviously the challenge or the change that is in the news the most is healthcare reform, and that reform is mandating in many ways that healthcare insurers, that life sciences companies, that health systems and other delivery organizations, in order to comply with and continue to do business in the face of some of the reform-driven changes, those organizations are having to embrace the end consumer more and more. And many of them are having to build capabilities that they didn't have before in order to do that. But reform is not the only driver of these changes, and so as politics impacts the reform process going forward, the direction that reform's going may or may not be exactly the same as the direction it is today. Outside of reform, though, consumers are changing the way they do business. They're changing what they expect from companies that they do business with, and they're changing the way they think about, interact with, and consume healthcare products and services. Those changes are not going to go away, whether or not reform is modified going forward. Those changes are driven by a couple of things. Consumers are being trained by other companies in other industries to expect certain things. They're being trained by websites like Yelp and companies like Zagat's to be able to get feedback on an organization, a company, a restaurant that they are thinking about doing business with. They're being trained by some of those same services to then, after they've consumed the product, after they've had the meal, they're being trained to provide their own opinion about the value that they received and whether they would recommend it to others. Companies like Amazon are training customers, training end consumers to expect almost immediate response to a question, to expect personalized attention regardless of how big of a customer they are or how small of a customer they are. Those kinds of expectations are spilling over across the board into healthcare, and healthcare companies are having to embrace and deliver against those increased expectations. That second trend is potentially the more important trend of the two that is shaping how successful healthcare companies will focus on the customer to succeed in the future. Trust is a topic that Peppers & Rogers Group has been researching in recent months, and it's a topic of great importance to a number of different industries. Our research results are really interesting and shed a lot of light on how healthcare companies, telecom companies, financial services firms can understand the drivers of trust and can take advantage of the benefits that accrue to an organization that is able to build trusted relationships with its customers. In fact, we'll be doing a webinar in coming weeks where we hope to begin the conversation about the role that trust can play in helping companies in the future build those kinds of relationships that help them succeed, help them win, and help contribute to their bottom line.